the holidays, boughs of holly, decked halls, and Yuletide cheer, and of course the Christmas demon. While Santa might visit your house for milk and cookies, Krampus prefers a more hands-on approach in his festivities by putting you in a sack and beating you with a stick. To each their own, I guess. But I bet there's a lot more than that you didn't know about the terrifying Christmas demon and his rich history. So get a mug of something hot and make sure you behave, because today we're going to be taking a look at the top 5 scary Krampus urban legends that will terrify you. Let me know down below if you'd ever like a visit from the Christmas demon himself. Let's dive on in. Number 5, the origins. So unfortunately, there's no adorable puppet show movie about how Krampus became Krampus, the same way that Santa has Santa Claus is coming to town. But that's why I'm here. I'm gonna run by you some fast facts about the Christmas demon and try to act as that puppet show tradition for you. Krampus mostly comes from Europe, predominantly from German folktales, as his name derives from a German word, Krampen, the German word for claw, of which Krampus has many. Now, all sorts of different local regional folktales describe Krampus as coming from all sorts of places, but some of the more recurring elements is that he's a demon, a son of hell, sometimes he's the son of an old Nordic god, but he always comes from somewhere scary. He's almost always described as being a hairy, horned goat beast, shackled in chains, and bearing a wicker basket or a sack over his shoulder. The chains are thought to represent his binding and his commitment to the devil. It's thought that the oldest depictions of Krampus and stories stem all the way back from the 12th century, where Krampus was included as part of pagan celebrations. The Catholic Church actually tried to ban Krampus in the 12th century, fearing that he was a little bit too demonic for their tastes, in one of the first of many times where Krampus was deemed too controversial and was attemptedly banned. We're going to touch on that later in the video. It's come up a lot. People really do not like the Christmas demon. Krampus stems from an old celebration involving ringing bells and lighting bonfires to drive away ghosts and evil spirits on the darkest days of the year. In Canada, we have to do that once a night. The Catholic Church adopted Christmas into pagan year-end traditions, and so as such, the inverse was true with Krampus, who soon found himself serving as the antithesis for jolly old Saint Nick, being wrapped up into Christmas traditions as well. So this Christmas demon has been around a long time, and has taken many forms. Across many Balkan and Slavic cultures, there are several variants of Krampus, like Belsnickel, Black Peter, Schmutzel, and the list goes on. But they're all fairly similar, a demonic entity or an evil entity who dole out fun, festive punishments for the holidays. But they all stem from the OD, the original demon, Krampus. And hey, if you're looking for more Christmas urban legends and scary stories, or regular scary stories and urban legends that don't have a Santa hat in the thumbnail, you're in the right place. At Top 5 Scary, we have got stockings full of scary videos, so sleep tight with visions of sugar plum fairies and cryptids dancing around your head. Okay, number 4. He's Santa's partner. Now, every good hero needs a totally wild, polar opposite rival turned best buddy. Goku's got Vegeta, Murtaugh had Riggs, Santa Claus has Krampus. Whilst Krampus is portrayed as a terrifying, kidnapping, whiplashing demon, many versions of the tales actually have him and Santa as like pretty good friends. So Santa is very aware of this operation, does nothing about it, and in fact actively encourages it. That's a side of old Saint Nick you didn't know before this video. They both share the same common goal of getting children to behave for the holidays, and they both love the fine products offered by the Coca-Cola Corporation. Seriously though, look this up. Dating all the way back to the 17th century, there are all kinds of stories and drawings, paintings of Krampus and Santa like posing back to back like they're 80s movie cop buddies. Like Krampus is his wild card partner who's gonna get him taken off the case. They need to make a movie out of this. If Father Christmas is the saint of all things holly and jolly, Krampus is the devil. I mean, look at him. In some variations, when Santa does his thing, does his rounds, Krampus actually rides with him in the sleigh, following in his footsteps to dole out punishments in between Saint Nick dunking milk and cookies. Could you imagine anything more awkward? You're waking up in the middle of the night, trying to steal a peek of Santa Claus, and you catch the eyesight of the lumbering, terrifying goat demon in the hallway. And you've got to wonder about families with multiple kids. Like, what if one of them has been good, and one of them has just been a little bit bad? Hey, Ben. You've been such a good kid this year. Looks like Santa brought you that Star Wars Lego set that you've been wanting. Kyle, unfortunately you've been naughty, so this demon is gonna throw you in a burlap sack over here and he's gonna whip you around the kitchen a little bit. Maybe give you some things to think about for next Christmas. Maybe improve your behavior some. In some delightful variants of the legends, Krampus doesn't hurt anybody, which is nice. But instead, he picks out the nicest bundle of sticks he can find, paints them, leaves them around the house, and encourages parents to hang up the sticks as a visual reminder that if children ever misbehave, well, Krampus knows exactly where you live and he knows your postal code. That would have got me washing the dishes like 5-6 times a day as a kid. Number 3, the Christmas Punisher. So Krampus is all about getting you to behave whatever it takes. He's a lot of hard, tough love, but he really does just want to see you do better. He wants to make sure you mind your P's and Q's. Now, speaking personally for a moment, as I just said, I think that if a festive goat demon left me a bundle of threatening sticks, that would probably threaten me into being good for the rest of my life. But that's just like level 1 of Krampus's Christmas punishments. Krampus's broken chains that he's always wearing around his legs, he'll lash those at you to scare you. They're pretty loud, they're pretty scary, but that's just one more thing in his bag of tricks. Let's talk about his actual bag of tricks itself. Krampus is usually shown carrying around a sack or a big wicker basket slung over him. While Santa's big bag is full of toys, candy canes, and less exciting but practical gifts like socks, Krampus prefers to keep his totally empty, because that's where he snatches up miscreants and ne'er-do-wellers to drag them down into hell. Yeah, that would probably get me to be nicer to my little siblings. This is a lovely cultural difference, I think. In some countries, they'll tell you if you're bad, Santa will put a lump of coal in your stocking and you don't get toys this year. And then in some countries, they tell you that if you're bad, a goat demon from hell will break into your home, whip chains around at you, stuff you into a potato sack, and then carry you into the depths of Tartarus, past the circle of torment, where you're to serve out eternal punishment all because you tracked mud in the house or you pulled the cat's tail or you were up too late. Maybe this is why I was an unruly child. I didn't have the fear of Krampus keeping me in my lane. Number 2, Krampus has his own holiday. While Krampus does help out on Christmas, well, help is kind of a strong word. He performs on Christmas, let's say. He does something on Christmas. He's also got his own holiday too. Krampus's is on December 5th, and it's called Krampusnacht, German for Krampus Night. Krampusnacht is sort of like Krampus's little like trial run where he's sussing out how bad you are. He's gonna figure out how much you're gonna get punished, whether or not this is just a leave sticks on the doorstep kind of deal or if you're taking the sack trip down to the pits. On Krampusnacht, Krampus scouts out your house and lets you know if he's coming for you if you've been bad, or he just snatches you up then and there. There's some variations there. He's not entirely the most discerning. The day after, December 6th, is St. Nicholas Day, which is also like a little Christmas teaser. Good children are rewarded with a small present and can also sleep easy knowing that they've managed to avoid Krampus this year so far. December 5th is usually when Krampus celebrations proper happen, and this can vary from town to town, ranging anywhere from a couple people having a nice little small get together or a full-on purge style party in the streets. This is really big in Europe, especially Austria. Adults dress in Krampus costumes, which are often made of wood and fur and look just absolutely horrifying. Unsurprisingly to anyone, this sometimes ends badly. There have been more than a few reports of people having a few too many at a Krampus party and finding themselves under the influence, dressed like a demon holding a giant stick around 40 other guys who are also dressed like a Christmas demon holding giant sticks. Could you imagine not knowing about this tradition for half a second, visiting Austria for the holidays and coming across Krampusnacht and thinking, oh, that's just how life is over here. Some towns have even warned tourists ahead of time that if you're not expecting the Krampus parade, it might shock you. At number 1, finally, you cannot stop Krampus. If you've been naughty, that's pretty much it. Krampus is coming for you. You can't stop him, but boy, howdy have they tried. Remember all the way earlier I was mentioning that there was a couple unsuccessful attempts to ban Krampus and quell the love for the Christmas demon? Pretty much since stories of Krampus have started to become popular, we've tried to get rid of him. The Catholic Church made an attempt in the 12th century to rid the world of him by banning celebration or worship of Krampus, fearing that his connection to the devil would lead to outright devil worship. It definitely didn't help that Krampus had stemmed from a pagan legend originally. But again, that was just the first. Despite the character and the myth being, well, completely horrifying in just about every definition of the word, we absolutely love the guy and can't seem to get enough of him. We make merch of him, we make pop vinyls of him. Coming up in the 20th century, Austria's fascist government in 1934 tried really hard and tried to outright ban Krampus, any depiction at all. So much as a drawing, a costume, you name it. Not happening. Claiming he was a symbol of the Social Democrats. I'm not 100% sure I follow along the logic of a demon who punishes people on Christmas being a symbol of democracy, but I guess Krampus is a strong force of social change. That's about all I've got. One city had actually promised that anyone wearing a Krampus costume outside would be arrested and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. In 1953, a school board in Vienna sent home pamphlets to children's parents warning them against any Krampus celebration, saying it could cause a child to be traumatized for life. I mean, if anything I've been talking about in this video is true, I'm pretty sure that actually makes a great deal of sense. One wonders how many little German kids had to get therapy for life because one day dad came home started throwing sticks around and was dressed like a goat demon. And you look outside and everybody's dressed like a goat demon. And it's the most lovely time of year. These days, Krampus's influence is spreading outside just Europe. And the myth and the character are finding huge prominence in North America. Like I said, we make merchandise. He's the villain in all kinds of decent horror movies. Krampus, that one is pretty okay. You can even get a Krampus Elf on the Shelf style doll called a Krampus on the Mantle, though I wish they at least tried to make that rhyme. All that is to say that no matter how hard you try to get rid of Krampus, it's just not gonna work. So he's here, we better get used to him, and you better watch out. And if you find a bundle of sticks in your home anytime soon, maybe start minding your manners a little more before you start hearing those chains. That's all for this video, my ghouls and goblins. This one came out really imposing. I'm sorry about that. I had a ton of fun, and I'll see you in the next one.